Thank you.
And as the board member of the rich and diverse East San Fernando Valley, which includes the first Armenian dual language program in LA Unified, I am so excited to sponsor this resolution. We know that the Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day on April 24th is a significant day for many of our students whose families suffered the horror of the Armenian Genocide, and for the entire Armenian community whose suffering at the hands of the Ottoman Empire continues to be denied even today. This resolution is about commemorating and remembering the first genocide of the 20th century, as we do every year in LA Unified, but we are also seeking ways to deepen our instruction so that every student, regardless of their heritage, learns about the genocide and its impact on the Armenian community and global history. We're a diverse district, and we as a board recognize that the diversity of our district is our strength. In the East San Fernando Valley, we have a vibrant and active Armenian community who make it a priority to remember and honor the 1.5 million lives lost during the genocide. I am proud of our district for taking this first step to reaffirm our commitment to our families and find ways to better accommodate and commemorate their traditions and their cultural holidays. I would now like to introduce a couple of guest speakers and key supporters of this resolution. Before I do that, Board Member Schmerlson, I understand you're co-sponsoring. Do you have any words that you want to share?
Yes, I'd just like to remind everyone that because of people not remembering the Armenian genocide of 1915, many more genocides have happened, and that's why it's so important to recognize what happened and make amends. Thank you.
Absolutely. And other co-sponsors as well.
Thank you very much. Do you want to hear from speakers?
Yes, let's go to our speakers and then we come back to the board. So I would like to first introduce a parent at Mountain View Elementary School, Anzhela Martirosyan. She has been a wonderful advocate on behalf of the community, and during a recent visit, she shared with me why observing April 24th was so important to her and her family. Anzhela.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, esteemed board members and public. My name is Anzhela Martirosyan. I'm a proud parent of two LAUSD, Local District Northeast, Mountain View Elementary students, third grader William and kindergartner Adele. I would like to thank the LAUSD for encouraging parental involvement with schools and our efforts into making LA schools as best as it can be. Also, I'm very grateful that I have been given the opportunity to be involved in the Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee, Pike Central District's Sunshine Committee, Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee, ELAC, and School Site Council. These committees gave me a platform to speak about the immense challenge that I and thousands of other parents face. And furthermore, I would like to thank Kelly Gonez for recognizing a major matter when first I approached her. It's emotional.
Big deep breath, comadre.
Yes, breath. I need that. Thank you. Every year on April 24th, I and many other parents face a great challenge. We have an obligation and owe to our ancestors to remember, to respect history. But do we walk with our people to commemorate the genocide, or do we send our kids to school so they won't be absent, lose an instructional day, cause a vast amount of money lost to the district, school and the district? How do we explain our kids that they cannot go to school tomorrow, and that only Armenians can't go, and their non-Armenian friends will be in school? This resolution brought by Kelly Gonez is integral to LAUSD, which has a large community of Armenian students and staff. It will allow not only Armenian, but all students and staff to not have a session on that day of the remembrance of the Armenian genocide. It is vital that the students grasp the significance of not forgetting past atrocities so that they will become vigilant, so that they will stand up against injustice and root out evil wherever they see it, so that the past finally stops repeating itself. And so that we all live in a world full of acceptance and inclusivity for all people, no matter their ethnicity, appearance, gender, or any other differences. So by bringing awareness and giving the students the opportunity to be part of their heritage events, we will be raising aware and sincere human beings. I'm asking for unity in support of this resolution that will rightfully honor the Armenian genocide through the essential tool of educating the youth of LAUSD. Lastly, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you for listening to us and taking action to finally honor the importance of these days to the Armenian community. Thank you for taking this matter into your own hands. Our community stands behind you, willing to collaborate and support in whatever way we can. Thank you. Thank you.
Was beautiful. Thank you. We now have two members from the Armenian National Committee of America Western Region, ANCA-WR. They are a wonderful and active grassroots organization devoted to advancing issues of concern to the Armenian-American community. I'm honored to have two very esteemed ANCA members from their Education Committee, Laura Michael Gaboudian and Dr. Kay Mouradian. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Board Member Gonez, for introducing the Remembering and Honoring the Armenian Genocide of 1915 resolution, and thank you to the school board for giving me the opportunity to speak in support today. I stand before you as an educator, a children's author, an ANCA Western Region Education Committee member, and the great-granddaughter of Armenian Genocide survivors. As an ELD coordinator, I often look to LAUSD for best practices, as the district is a model on how to support all stakeholders. Now I'm asking that LAUSD be at the forefront again, this time for best practices regarding Armenian genocide recognition and education. Firstly, we know the facts. We know the Armenian genocide began 104 years ago at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, a crime against humanity that still goes unrecognized by the Turkish government, in which 1.5 million Armenians were brutally murdered with the intent to exterminate an entire ethnicity. We know that America's first organized international humanitarian relief effort was through Near East Relief in response to the genocide and saved over 130,000 Armenian orphans and refugees, including my great-grandparents. We know that Hitler used the Armenian genocide as a blueprint for the Holocaust. And all of these facts are part of California's updated history and social science framework. Our teachers are tasked with teaching the facts of the Armenian genocide, the work of Near East Relief, and the genocide's direct correlation to the Holocaust. We also know that when a school is culturally responsive and a student's heritage and history are recognized, that student knows they are a valued member of their school community. However, taking the step of approving this resolution will not only support the Armenian community in LAUSD, but it will have a positive impact on all. I'd like to share with you an example I recently encountered. I had the opportunity to share my great-grandparents' survival during the genocide with a group of students in South Los Angeles. After my presentation, I met a 10th grade student named Sabrina, who was born and raised in South LA, and before taking world history, she knew little, if nothing, about the Armenian genocide. However, her teacher took the initiative to attend professional development on the genocide to be better equipped to teach his students about this important history. The result of that education? Sabrina approached me after my presentation and stated, "The Armenian genocide is not just an Armenian issue. It's a human rights issue, and we all need to demand recognition of this horrible crime." This is the perfect example of how high-quality teacher training can impact students. Sabrina is now empowered with knowledge to make a difference in the world. Now imagine the benefits of increased Armenian genocide awareness and education for all LAUSD students and staff. Imagine a whole district of Sabrinas, empowered leaders ready to advocate and stand up to injustices in our world. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to supporting the district in any way I can with Armenian genocide recognition and education.
Thank you very much. Hi. You want to come to the microphone, please? Thank you.
Welcome.
Want to show it. Okay. I'm Dr. Kay Mouradian, a retired educator, and I want to first of all thank the board for listening to us, and especially to Kelly Gonez for sponsoring the resolution. It means a great deal to us because history, unfortunately, has ignored us. And my mom was a survivor, and when I realized the depth of what happened in 1915, I did a tremendous amount of research. And some of you know, I wrote a novel based on my mom's survival. And then, whenever I showed my PowerPoint to groups such as the Kiwanis and Rotary, at the end of the Q&A, someone would invariably would ask, why did I not learn about this in my history class? And that's when I realized I had to take that PowerPoint and turn it into a documentary, a 25-minute documentary designed specifically for history classes that I can't even give away because teachers are not teaching the Armenian genocide, and they could care less whether this is in their packet. One of the reasons this has happened is that the word genocide did not come into the vocabulary until 1948. Now, the Armenian genocide started in 1915, so more than 30 years had elapsed before there was a word that described what happened. That's not the worst part. The worst part is that after World War I, when everyone in the world was aware of what had happened in the Armenian genocide in the Ottoman Empire, the story was fading away. And it was only Hitler who picked it up and brought it back into the public awareness when he said, who today still talks about the extermination of the Armenians? And then he used that, as has already been stated, as the groundwork for his own Holocaust. Probably a few weeks ago, I was at a private event honoring the new president of PCC. And there was the principal of South Pasadena High School. I'd been trying to give my materials to the teachers there at South Pass. Uh-oh. But this is important. This is important. I'm so sorry. The reason why they are not teaching, the principal told me, she said, I tried to introduce your work, but the teachers said they already have so much to talk about, they don't have time, and it's not required. That was before the 2016 framework, which now requires the Armenian genocide, and I have a copy of it if any of you would like to have it, and I will send it to you through Kelly if that would work. And the last thing I want to say, the other thing is textbooks are not carrying it, and finally there is a textbook designed for graduate students in genocide studies that has a chapter about my mom's story that is being taught in drama classes, and the play was just last week at Hoover High School in Glendale, and it's also being shown in Armenia. So this is the start, and I would love to see LAUSD be at the forefront of bringing the Armenian genocide into the teachers' hands in history classes. Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to go
Thank you
further.
so much. Anyone else,
Any
board
other board
members?
members?
Mr. Okeke?
Kay, I'm sorry. Kay, Dr. Mouradian, sorry. I remember working with you and having library services go through every textbook that we use in LAUSD to tell me where the Armenian genocide is mentioned. And of all the books that we look for, maybe a line, maybe one line in the history book of all of the things that we look for. So that's a perfect example of how it's not being done correctly.
This is the new framework,
Thank you.
pages worth, that, and teachers are not aware of it. The history curriculum people who guide the teachers were not aware of it.
PD, professional development is what we need, PD.
And that's why it's in the resolution.
Thank you very much. Mr. Melvoin?
Just want to thank Ms. Gonez for bringing it and thank all our compelling speakers for the history lesson as well. I'm proud that LA Unified incorporates this as part of the social studies curriculum, but appreciate that Ms. Gonez is elevating this so we can do more. And I think words matter and what we call things matter, and it's so long overdue that we refer to this by what it was. And as Mr. Schmerelson said, and as Ms. Gonez is reminding us, and our speakers have articulately done as well, the only way to prevent atrocities, genocides like this one from happening in the future are to speak about the ones that happened in the past and learn from it. And we, quite honestly, as a country, too, have not done a good enough job of naming it as the first step to owning it and learning from it. So thank you, Ms. Gonez.
Thank you very much, Mr.
I just
Okeke.
want to echo something that the board president said earlier in the meeting, which is that the best way to combat hate and violence is through education. And I have to agree that being a student and having gone, I'm a senior now, like I have not learned about the Armenian Genocide in our classrooms. And I think that I'm proud of this resolution and kind of like the work of the district to stand behind marginalized groups wherever they are in our district and wherever they're represented and kind of empowering their identities, but also just making sure that this is a framework to make sure that other acts of violence and oppression are also given the same visibility, just because like we have to continue to remind ourselves of what happened in the past so that we do not repeat it.
Exactly right. Thank you very much. A 25-year-old Roosevelt graduate once said to me, "Power is the ability to define reality." And I think as we lift our, humanity, we tell a better story of a world where more are included and more are acknowledged, and there is an understanding that the big us, the big we, does include all of us. And so thank you so much for being here today. All right, and I just want to acknowledge the passion and the feeling and the emotion. It's because it is so personal, and it is so real and raw. When others can just comment sometimes, many people feel, and so God, thank you for that. You please use the microphone or else they can't hear you at home.
This play that was at Glendale, the cast there are no Armenians in there. Not one of the cast members knew anything about the Armenian Genocide, and let me tell you, they know a lot about it and feel it very deeply. So it's just really a matter of time that the story gets out.
We are learners. We are learners. We are leaders. Ms. Akshian, did you want to say something?
So, as a very proud Armenian-American, this is a moment that I will never forget in my life, because even though I've worked for decades in this district, this type of recognition has not occurred, and we know when we embrace one another's cultures, we become stronger as a community. And recognizing atrocities allows us to see the signs, because these things don't happen overnight. It's a development that occurs.
True.
It is underlying racism that begins to demonstrate itself in ways, if allowed. So together we can educate our students about seeing the signs and stopping them before they get out of hand. So thank you. And most importantly, so proud of Dr. Mouradian, but also the parent. It's rare that Armenian parents come forward and actually speak about themselves, their culture, and their advocacy for the community. So I'm incredibly proud of you, and thank you for the dual language programs. I know the coordinators at Mountain View and others are here, so I appreciate your coming together, united front, doing the right thing for our students, all of our students at LAUSD, not just the Armenian students. So pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you all, board members. To our community here, Mr. Okeke, on the item.
Yes.
Any objections? Seeing none, so ordered.